Yes, 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 yes. This is me, Hudson George, tonight. Sitting in a coffee shop. Now my topic tonight is Grenadians. Why we always want to be rebels without a cause. Why we always like to be rebels without a cause. Why we love to criticize everything new, and we never had any vision to implement nothing new. Why we afraid? Why we keep complaining about the law when we had an opportunity in a referendum to change certain clause in the law by voting for certain bills? We didn't do it. Right? Now, two big hotels is going up in Livera, St. Patrick, the Livera project. Every day you see people from the south of the island complaining about two big hotels being built in Livera, St. Patrick. The critic of the hotel project, they didn't own the land's property in Livera, but they complaining. They don't live in St. Patrick, they complaining. They never invest money in St. Patrick, they complaining. I don't even believe some of them have friends in St. Patrick. Oh, and if they have relatives in St. Patrick and they know, they don't even care. I'm a Grenadian, I know what I'm talking about. But every day, complaining about the Livera project. St. Patrick has a lot of potential to become one of Grenada's most attractive tourist sites. The majority of Grenadian islands are situated in the north of St. Patrick. Right? Carriacou is close to St. Patrick, and a chain of island go up. You meet Carriacou, then you take Petit Martinique. So everything had to have a beginning. Two big buildings going up. Every day you complaining. Why we like that? Secondly, we hate so hard. You can't tell Grenadians the law we have in Grenada, or we believe we have, is not Grenadian law. You didn't vote in the referendum to create certain new bills, new laws. You refused for party politics. Then, I'm talking in general now. We still keep talking about the law. Grenada law is the British law. Whether you update it to reach the British standard, the final court in Grenada is the British Privy Council. So a lot of things you Grenadian think is the law when you are small is not the law again in Grenada, because the British people, they changed the law. So when they changed the law, they didn't make two laws. They didn't make a law for Caribbean people who use in the Privy Council and the law for the British people. So if you go use the British court as your final court, the final court going to give judgment based on the British law, not your law. What you think is the law. So we just be arguing a lot of things in Grenada what don't make sense. If we continue that way, we wouldn't make progress, because we have to come to the realization not everybody think the same. And Grenada have different groups of people. So when we talk about the law, if you're living in Cuba or China or Iran, in Iran is Islamic law. You're living in China, the Communist Party have the law. You're living in Cuba, Cuba have the law. Right? They don't use no other people court. But our final court is the British court. So anything is the law in Britain, is the law in Grenada. When you tell Grenadians that, they don't believe. Trinidad is the only republic in the world. Country as a republic that volunteer to have the British Supreme Court or the Privy Council as the highest court. And when they asked former Prime Minister Kit Rowley, Dr. Kit Rowley, why he keep the British law, was Kit, one of the Trinidadian Prime Minister, I think it was Rowley, most likely it was Rowley. I don't think it was Manning, I think it's Rowley. He said they don't trust Trinidadian Prime Minister. They said they don't really trust the British court. So the PNM government and even the UNC when they're in government, they still keep the British court, because none of those politicians don't trust the Caribbean court. Trinidad never joined the CCJ. So in Grenada, we're very stubborn people. The other day I was watching a live, a Grenadian blogger, popular blogger, and he had a guest on the program, and the topic was about soca music, Trinidad, Grenada thing, and competition and so. And the way I see some of our Grenadian people behave, especially the ladies. Ladies' politics is not emotions. Yes, in Grenada we have good soca music. Maybe is the best presently. And instead of we quarreling, historically, most of the greatest calypsonians and soca artists, if they're not born in Grenada, they have Grenadian parentage. The majority. So now we don't go to Trinidad to live again. So those who are born in Grenada stay home. The famous one in Trinidad, they have Grenadian parentage. So there is something about Grenadian, Trinidad and Tobago people. Everything in Grenada, politics go into it. On the program, they were talking about Blackadan. And Blackadan came up. And the power soca thing they didn't have it in Trinidad this year. I was listening to Ride Along. And the people, the Grenadian who were calling, they were hard on the Trinidadian man who is the guest, which they shouldn't do. Grenadians, we don't promote our culture. Because if you see culture rising in Grenada, first thing, the person what is very cultural. First thing you find out if he support the party in power, and then you start squeezing him. Or if he not from the south or the island, he might get second preference. The year Black Adam sing Blessing, Black Adam said in interview, even though he had the song out, promoters wasn't giving him work. The media in Grenada and even politicians in the southern part of the island, guys close to the NDC government. One guy in particular, two in particular. One is an MP, a young MP, and another person in the they got some good job with the NDC government. They were talking dash, everything was dash. Right? So if everything was dash, then after Carnival, Labor Day, Black Adam tune picking up vibes. It's not only Grenadian that had loved Black Adam tune. As one lady was saying, Black Adam tune was big on Labor Day. But Trinidadians had loved the song too, and other Caribbean people. We were tribal with it. Everything was dash. You understand? So we are rebels without a cause. We're only nationalistic when we want to curse other people in other islands. But the thing with that, telling you, Grenadian, soca music bring Caribbean people together. And yes, Grenada are the best soca now. You cannot be making war with Trinidadian over soca music. Because if you show nationalistic and you're so industrious, well, make a big power soca thing, international soca thing to them. You won't do it. Every day is yellow and green we fighting. Fighting yellow and green every day. And then when we're ready, we want to curse we neighbor next. Without Trinidad and Tobago, soca music wouldn't be so big. Even though Grenada are the best soca now. Because Trinidad is Trinidadian, they might have a nationalism too. When I just be on Facebook arguing with a Trinidadian guy who wouldn't admit that Dominicans have a great influence in what we call soca music today. He wouldn't admit it. So he had hard too. But, so you go find the hard case like him in Trinidad. But most Trinidadian, when it come to soca music and party, they don't care where the music come from. So why are we beating war with them? Grenadian, we are rebels without a cause. We must stop that. You argue, we don't argue with things we must not argue with. You don't argue with feelings. We don't have law, we law is the British law. We had problem with the Donald Trump thing too. The government genuflect to Donald Trump, but they can tell you. They bow. They admit to take deportees, but then they talking like if they're so powerful. Oh, Mr. Trump want to give us money to him. Want to give us money if they want us to take the refuge or the deportees. This is what they're telling the supporters of the Grenadian people. But we don't know if behind the table Trump offer them money already. We don't know. You see? So, we must stop being rebels without a cause. Stop intimidating Trinidadian with the soca business, because Trinidad is the I call it the Mecca And even though Grenada are good soccer, we'll more fight among ourselves than they fight among themselves. And then the soccer music bring Caribbean people together. So it don't make sense arguing with the Trini. Even Tobago, when Tobago start the carnival, they sort of model it on Grenada. So Trinidad, Grenada, Tobago people is one blood, one love, one heart. So Grenadian too much, you guys like too much of Malay and TV, sometimes what don't make sense. The law, we don't have law. Any law in Grenada is British law. Your Prime Minister is a lawyer, he won't tell you that. But he know. And the lawyers in Grenada know. You understand? Now we are the last people who decriminalize marijuana. Then again, that shouldn't be so much a hot topic. What we should do is, we should get people from the other countries where they decriminalize marijuana and ask them what effect it have on the society. If you have more homeless people, more crazy people, and all those things, and we should find out again if there is any statistics on marijuana smokers. If marijuana is the healing of the nation, or if it's good for so many diseases, as most pro-marijuana people will tell you. Is there any statistics on the lifespan of people who smoke marijuana compared to people who don't smoke? These are things, the health condition of the people. Because if a herb is good for certain illness, if you don't have the illness, why take the medicine? I mean, if you're taking certain herbal medicine to build your immune system, I could see with that. So we Grenadian, man, we don't easy, man. We just get trouble. Judge Bizano is right when he say Grenada is the land of conflict and crisis. We creating conflict and crisis that we don't have to make any argument about. And when time to make change in the country, we doesn't unite. But we always, in music time, you have a problem with Trinidad. You have a problem with Donald Trump. You have a problem with everybody. We have to stop that. New building coming up, new hotel building. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but you don't have to be complaining every day. If government take your land and they didn't pay you, and you see buildings going up, you could complain. I see on the news where they're running some pipes going on in the south of the island with water. Because the south of the island, although it is highly developed, they might have more problem with water than people in the north. Again, when the two hotels in Livera open, that two hotels wouldn't have problem for water. Because I said that in my life before. The Hermitage, Peggy Swim area got lots of water. We supply all of St. Patrick and part of St. Andrew with water. Now, in the south of the island, they're taking water from the Grenadian Lake. Right? Because the hotel industry is in the south, you know. Grenadian Lake is in St. Andrew. Right? So basically, you bleed in St. Andrew to build up the south. And Sagazam on Telescope Beach and other beach in St. Andrew doesn't get clean But Grenadians beach does get clean. Right? You understand where I'm coming from? And so I could go on and on and on. But Grenadian, we have to stop that thing already. Everything is merry. The point is, changes are constant. Sometimes when you see change, don't say nothing. And when you don't say nothing when you see certain change. If I go home now and I see the building a hotel in Hermitage, I won't complain. The people who build in the hotel know why they building it. They're not building it on my back or on my property. They build in the hotel. They must have a other plan. Why they building it? Because these people who build in these hotels up in Livera, they're not crazy people. They are multi-millionaires, maybe billionaires. We don't know after they build the hotel, they might ask the government to open up Paul's Airport. I don't know. But you stay in the south of the island only complaining and you don't have nothing to offer. You have anything to offer northerners? When we come in Sunday, I'll say, look, hey, look at Sotter's man, look at Sotter's woman. Oh, we come out behind God back. Well, leave us alone. Anyway, I'll go on till I come again. Hudson George as usual.